Have you ever been hungry, really hungry? Wondered when your next meal was going to come? Some families only have enough money for one meal a day, perhaps one bowl of rice. And some children only get healthy food through the snack programs that they have at their school. Have you ever wondered if you'd have enough money for your rent? Wondered if there was enough money to go to the dentist to fix that broken tooth, to get medicine for your sick child, or to get appropriate seasonal wear like boots that your child has outgrown the year before? Or enough money to buy school supplies, pay for field trips, or specialized learning programs? Ever wondered about the basic things like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, or laundry detergent? For some families, it just isn't in the budget. Whether we like it or not, poverty is about money or lack thereof. Put simply, some people have it and some do not. This creates a whole host of problems, including poverty and, in severe cases, homelessness. In fact, socioeconomic status is the prime determinant in most of life's outcomes. But you know, poverty is about other things like kindness and caring, responsibility too. As global citizens, we need to take care of each other and to reduce the effects of poverty. Those of us who can help should. Do you know that 400,000 people in Ontario alone are in need and accessing food banks? These statistics are alarming, but they alert us to the fact that change is needed. What can be done? What can you do?
This year at Sloane, the Equity Committee decided that poverty would be a great issue to focus on. It's an issue that affects our school directly, affects our community, it affects our country, and internationally it's an issue that often doesn't get the attention that it deserves, and it's often not okay to talk about it, and people kind of shy away from any discussions when it comes to poverty. So the Equity Committee thought, let's bring some light to this issue and let's do something about it and show the kids and the staff that one little act can really make a difference. So we designed activities and experiences to not only shed a light on this issue and inform, but to show kids that if you are in this situation, you're not alone and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's things that we can do to help each other. So our goal, I think, was to inform and to make a difference somehow. So we've organized fundraisers, we've planned events, we've had donations, and just taking part in one of these things, like all it took was bringing in an item of toiletry or some used clothing, and kids got the sense that they were helping, and it really brought us together, a sense of community that we're making a difference in the world. And as teachers, I think that's the best thing we can do for our kids, show them that they can make a difference in this world.
My name's Akisha.
And my name is Zara.
Do you know Joe Roberts? If you're Canadian, you should know his name.
I know Joe. We're talking about Joe Roberts, the man who pushed the shopping cart across Canada to raise awareness and money for youth homelessness.
He started in St. John's, Newfoundland on May 1st, 2016 and will finish in Vancouver on September 30th, 2017.
All in all, he will walk over 9,000 kilometers.
Joe is an amazing person who once was homeless but got a lucky break. He became a successful businessman and now he wants to give back.
The shopping cart is a symbol of home.
Joe believes that ending youth homelessness is possible. Check out the pushforchange.com website. Learn about the goals and projects and donate if you can. Go Joe!
Sloane Public School has been engaged in the What If Poverty project for the last 6 months. Within that time, the students, staff, and community came together to learn about the issue of poverty and to understand on a deeper level the biting impact poverty has and the scars it can leave. The project started with some professional development for staff, which helped all participants understand different perspectives.
We asked staff to think about what they can do to make a difference in their communities. We asked staff to think big. Start small, but start now. The issue of poverty can seem overwhelming. Asking staff to consider what they might be able to implement in 48 hours and then in 3 months is much more doable. Time is given to brainstorm some suggestions from the personal to the systemic to allow staff to become active in addressing poverty in their community. Being mindful of the Toronto District School Board's Integrated Equity Framework, this workshop helps support discussions around some of the barriers our students and communities face.
Staff talked about the challenges within the public education system, specifically addressing the high percentage of students who grow up in situations that are inequitable. We discussed strategies to effectively teach with such diversity in our classrooms, knowing that some students come to school with very different levels of knowledge and skills. Some students come to school with very different needs, and all agreed that awareness was the key to helping all children succeed. From that workshop, we also learned that poverty is hard to define in numbers. Different organizations determine levels of poverty differently. However, the idea of what poverty looks like, sounds like, and feels like was very clear.
I think a lot of people are unaware about the degree that poverty does affect us in Canada, in Ontario, and in our own city, Toronto. I think it's very enlightening and eye-opening for people to realize that yes, poverty is a huge issue here in our city, and there's so much that needs to be done and can be done, but there has to be the awareness first to generate the motivation for us to do something.
At Sloane Public School, we have been learning about what poverty is and how it affects those in our community, city, province, country, and the world.
We wanted to make a positive change by taking actions that would help as many people as possible. We collected food for 9 days of giving. Over the course of 9 days, we brought in food that was needed for the Toronto food banks. Each class tried to bring in as much as food as possible. In December, we also did 2 other acts of kindness. We collected toys for Toy Mountain and we participated in the Red Nose campaign.
For Toy Mountain, we collected unwrapped toys which were added with other donated toys to create a mountain of joy for children in need. The Red Nose campaign was a fun one. We sold flashing red noses for $3 each. All proceeds went to the Toronto Foundation for Student Success, which helped kids with food, warm clothes, and other necessities that would make them succeed in the classroom. This organization helped us here at Sloane with our snack program.
We also have done a clothing drive. We collected clothing and footwear for a youth homeless shelter.
It feels really good to help others.
Sloane students were then exposed to different picture books that directly taught them about poverty. They heard stories about kids with empty fridges, parents and children living in a car or the airport, homeless people living on the street, sleeping on the street, or in a dumpster. In other stories, they learn that some adults and some kids have to scavenge through the garbage to find returnable cans and bottles, useful things that have been discarded, or even food. They learned about kids without shoes and adults without warm winter wear. They learned that clean water is not always available and that many have to fetch water from a well far away and to carry it back to their home without even the use of a bicycle. These stories also taught students that they have the ability to make a difference. The books talked about treating all people with respect, regardless of their situation. The books talked about places where homeless people could get food or shelters where they could sleep. They learned about volunteers who helped to run the shelters and the soup kitchens. They learned about gifts of blankets and warm clothing to those who needed it, and about donating food to a food bank. They learned about the power of a smile and a friendly hello. Through it all, they learned empathy.
Now listen, the reason I share that story is because life is about perspective. Today I'm going to give you a story that is all about perspective.
The Sloane community was very lucky to have Canadian author Chris Naimi come to our school to visit and to read his book Sally to everyone. He talked about his book, which centers around two characters, Tom, a teenage boy, and Sally, a homeless woman. The story is a well-developed narrative of friendship that forms between Tom and Sally. The book is beautifully written and illustrated and should be a book that everyone owns. It should definitely be in all libraries. The picture books, like Sally, really opened up the students' minds to what problems exist in the world and the hope that things can get better with positive intervention.
I've written a book called Sally, and Sally's a story of a homeless woman who befriends a teenage boy, and it's basically a story about giving, and giving when you don't have much to give. And it's just a story that shows the compassion that one boy has for a woman who lives on the streets and has been on the streets for more than 20 years because of illness. So I tried to educate students and adults of the importance of reaching out and being there for one another, and also how can we prevent people from ending up on the streets? What can we do to ensure that our loved ones are not lost in life?
A big highlight for the Sloane community was hosting a food packing session with Kids Against Hunger Canada. Together with community partners, Rotary Club of North Scarborough, Rotary Club of North York, and Rotary Club of Toronto Eglinton, we packed 21,384 meals for those in need of food.
It's really fantastic to see the energy of the kids. Everybody's involved. They're conscientious. They know that they're helping to pack food for people around the world and kids that are hungry. So they're quite engaged and they're excited, and it's really wonderful to see that the involvement of the children with Kids Against Hunger.
Every one of these children that are working at this today will learn about volunteering, and they'll go away with a very, very good sense of what it is to help others and how good that can make you feel.
Kids Against Hunger is a wonderful project. It's the best darn thing I've ever done in Rotary over the last 10 years. And as a retired school principal and school administrator, it's the best thing I've been involved in the last 40 years.
We're going to pack 21,000 plus meals here today with the school kids, and we're really thrilled about this. We have a heart and a mission to serve needy and starving children throughout the world and here in Canada. This food that we're going to pack today is going to locally in the Toronto region to food banks. Also, it's going north in Northern Ontario to Pic-Maubert, actually, right, to First Nations people. And we're also sending part of the shipment to Ghana overseas. So we try to get our food distributed worldwide, and we're helping out the needy here in Canada as well.
Kids Against Hunger is a humanitarian organization with the mission to significantly reduce the number of unnourished children in Canada and starving and needy people around the world.
Hang on, folks! We got our first skid done, 7,128 meals. Christopher Morrock is doing the bell ringing. Go! That's it, keep going, you guys. We got lots to do. These kids are absolutely marvelous, and you truly are the future of tomorrow.
Sloane students, parents, and teachers put together meal packages which included things like long grain rice, soy powder, and dehydrated vegetables. This session was a hands-on way in which the students could directly take action and reduce poverty in a very concrete way.
To see a number of classes all getting involved, trying to make a difference in terms of eradicating poverty, learning about social justice, and learning about our role as global citizens. I saw so many classes in there, so many students, all taking action, all of them aware of where their food is going and who it's helping. They've been learning that in prior lessons and about the need that's out there. I'm glad to see that students here at Sloane are getting that same perspective of the importance of always looking at equity and of helping those around them.
Prior to the food packing session, there was an evening of family engagement, which included a chance to hear information about Kids Against Hunger Canada and an opportunity to taste a sample of the food that we would be fundraising for and packing later in the month. This session also included a lesson on the push for change and Joe Roberts, the man trekking across Canada with a shopping cart to build awareness of youth homelessness. We created cards of thanks and encouragement to send to him. There were a lot of follow-up discussions related to the picture books presented, and a lot of follow-up activities were done. These were often connected to the arts. Students drew pictures to go with written what-if statements. We all tried to imagine what a world would be like without poverty. These were collected from most students and staff and put together into a book.
So glad to spend it with my friends. Today is the best day of my life, and I'll sing it out 1,000 times. Today is the best day of my life, and I can't afford to miss this time.
Grade 2 and Grade 3 students worked with neutral masks and did a wordless play called Poverty Has Many Faces. Another group of students in Grade 4 and 5 did a play called The Deal. It is about kids who start to realize the value of money and the differences that exist between them. All connected lessons were age appropriate and challenged the learners to think in a different way. Junior classes did lessons on a deeper level, talking about issues such as the government's responsibilities for affordable housing, the higher rates of poverty within Aboriginal communities, public versus private health care, access to clean water, and the unequal distribution of wealth in the world. A group of about 30 students from various grades did a painting project for 5 days. They painted 8 panels with their own interpretations and representations of the picture books that they had found most meaningful. This student art will be a permanent installation in the school.
And they've been picking out and looking at the illustrations and recreating them in their style. And so we're doing that, and we're picking images that will tell us the story from, for example, poverty and ways of how somebody has received help, what does that look like, and what the impact is for their life afterwards. So it's telling multiple tales at the same time. And one of the students thought that it would be lovely to put a butterfly, and I thought that was so endearing, because having a butterfly fly around, a butterfly represents change and transformation from the caterpillar to this beautiful thing that flies free. So I thought that was a really nice metaphor. So we're adding in all these elements that are coming together quite nicely.
I'd have to say that the Why Poverty project has been a great learning experience for our students. It's taught them about compassion, about being responsible, respectful, and about integrity. It's taught them to be caring and kind to others. They've learned that poverty doesn't happen just far away, it happens close to home, and you just never know who may be suffering in poverty. And so they've learned a lot. They've learned how to help others through the packing project, through donating clothes, through raising money to help support the packing project.
We hope that our learning on poverty continues each year, and that we can turn our new awareness and emotional understanding into actions. We challenge all schools to do the same.